Okay, so I've had about a week to handle the Breeze by CJRB, carry it around, see what I like about it, and I've come up with a couple things that I think need improvement. And I think it would only be fair and honest for me to make a video on what I think needs improvement in order for this to be a viable product that I would carry on a daily basis. My first impressions of this thing are amazing. I really love the feel of it. It feels really nice. I like the button press. There's a lot of things that I really liked about it. If you missed my initial unpacking video, check that out here or there or somewhere. But this video specifically, I'm going to talk about a couple of the shortcomings that I see with this product and just a couple of things that, rub me the wrong way or whatever. Take this as feedback. This is nothing against CJRB. This is a product that they're trying to launch, but I don't think it's even hit the market yet. And I think that as a kind of a part of the product development process, there's going to be some things that we need to talk about so that they can refine and make this thing better. So skip over to the desk, we'll take a look at it, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So one of the main features that I really liked about this is the locking mechanism. And the lock mechanism is just simply, you turn it to open and close, but when you want to lock it, it stays locked, right? The problem is this. When I stick it into my pocket, this thing goes to unlocked mode, which is fine. That's not going to be that big of a deal, and it's not really going to happen all that often. But then I pull it out to use it, and here's how I've kind of used it, right? So if I crank this thing all the way down, it's like 3/4 past lock. So let's just call this the tightest that it's going to get unlocked, right? I come out, I adjust it to unlocked, right? And then I use it, do whatever, blah, 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 blah. I come back in and I lock it. Now, if you paid attention, instead of turning it back this way, you have to remember to turn it back right to lock it. And because this is kind of an ambidextrous lock, you can turn it either way. And my initial, what I am habitually, I guess, predispositioned to do is I push up to unlock. So let's take it back all the way. I'm just going to show you. Take it all the way back to fully locked. This is as locked as you can get it. So this is where it would be safely to say that it was locked. I push it up to unlock it, right? And it does have to be pretty fairly in the middle there. It unlocks. This is hard to do backwards, but I want to show you uncut without me flipping it over. I bring it back, and then if I lock it again like this, because my thumb just wants to do this to lock things, right? And then I come back and I unlock it again, right? Now we're going around doing whatever. I come back and I lock it. So I've only unlocked it and locked it twice. Now I can push up, and it's starting to give away. Do you see what's happening there? Now if I do it one more time, right, so this is be unlocked and using it, and then back to locked. So this is twice now that I've unlocked it. Now you can just push it open and the lock fails. And I think that's a pretty big deal unless you're just really going to babysit this thing and make sure that you're turning right to lock and left to unlock. But the problem is this thing makes it so easy to just push it with your thumb and unlock it that it's kind of like a feature to me, really, but except for the lock fails after doing it twice. Because I like to do this, flip it over, use the knife, shut it, and then use my thumb again to lock it. And instead of pushing it the other way, which is kind of wonky for me, I just push it up, and it just locks and unlocks for me super easily, which I really love. Except for the fact that after 2 times of doing it, now suddenly I can push it open even if it's locked. And that's not very good because it defeats the whole purpose of the lock. So that's my main concern with this. And I don't know how you would fix it other than to make this thing not threaded so that the lock just rotated, but then have some sort of maybe an alignment pin in there to where you pushed it down and you rotated it 270 degrees and then the whole thing popped apart. Which actually leads me to my next thing that I have that I don't really care for about this. Back to the table. If you want to change the razor blade out on this thing, the only way that I've found to do it, and I could be wrong, but the only way that I've found to do it is to hold this button down so it doesn't spin. And you sit there and you unscrew this whole thing and you take the whole thing apart. Now, the problem with that is that 1, it takes forever. 2, you have to be really careful because if you don't balance this thing perfectly, your springs just dump out and they fall over. That's a huge miss. And in my opinion, you're going to get a bunch of people that are going to lose springs on this thing, and then it's going to be pretty much worthless because you're not going to be able to have the button press mechanism work. So the springs need to, in some way, shape, or form, be fastened to this probably. Whether that means they get epoxied in the inside of the holes, or whether that means they, welded of some sort. But nonetheless, they need to be attached to the button so that they don't fall out. Now, if you want to put it back together, it's actually a little bit wonky. The best way that I've found to do it is you put your blade in here all the way, and then you just kind of like line it up. You throw your button into here, and then you just kind of have to guess at where it's going to line up on that thing, and then get it back in. And the only time that I've had an easy time doing this is on a flat surface, where I can make sure that I'm getting everything in the hole right. So it's just kind of a little bit wonky. And so I don't know if there's something they can do about that or what, but it's just kind of in my opinion, it's a little bit of a nuisance to swap out blades. And for what I'm going to use this thing for, I'm going to trash blades. I'm going to go through blades a lot because I'm going to be cutting cardboard. I'm going to be cutting all of the things that I don't want to ruin my knife with. This blade's going to eat that. And so it's going to have to be, easily swapped for me. And right now it's just not, I don't know, it's kind of missing the mark on that. Which also leads me to my next point. They currently use what I can best describe as proprietary blades, maybe? Either way, they're not super common blades, at least here in the United States. They have 4 holes in them. You can find 4-hole blades, but from what I've read and what I've observed from other people posting, they're different somehow. Like the holes don't line up the same way or something like that, which means that you're stuck buying blades from CJRB, which is fine. I don't have a problem supporting companies, but if you're in, like, let's say you're in small town America or something like that, you've left your house, you're cutting things up, your blade fails, and you want to swap out a blade, you can't just run to Ace Hardware or some other store, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, and grab another blade to replace in your box cutter. You're stuck having to either carry extra blades because they're not readily available, at least in my area they're not, or you have to just deal with the fact that you got a busted knife. You can flip it around, but you only get one extra, because once you flip it around, you got another sharp blade. If you don't swap it out the next time you're at home, you run the risk of messing up that blade and then not having a good blade on you at all. So the use of proprietary blades is not my favorite, or semi-proprietary blades. I'm not sure, because I know that you can find these somewhere, but they're not readily available like the, traditional go to Home Depot and type of thing that I've been able to find. Secondly, make it, I don't know how you would make it quick release, but if you could make it quick release, this thing that'd be a huge bonus point in this thing. And then finally, if there was some way to fix that lock mechanism to where it didn't just go from lock, unlock, lock, unlock, and then back to lock, and now you can push it up without it being locked, that to me, that's almost a deal killer for me. And hopefully, though, CJRB finds a way to fix that. My recommendation, just kind of thinking it through, would be to have almost like this button on a shaft that goes down with a little, like a keyed shaft, to where you just push it down and you squish them together, and then you rotate the whole thing, and then it locks into a pin somewhere or something, so that it can rotate freely still, and you still get the tension and everything there, but that if you keep rotating this, it doesn't just unscrew on you. It's just an idea. I don't know. I'm not in product development department or anything like that. CJRB just sent this to me for free so that I could take a look at it before it launched and give them some feedback. And so that's kind of what this video is. But also, I wanted everybody out here to know as well what I had found as kind of like the downfalls to this. Other than that, this thing has been amazing. I really love the way it feels. It fits in my change pocket perfectly. Like, it's the perfect height, the perfect everything for the jeans that I wear, and it just slides right in there. It's nice and tight. I can leave the lanyard out, and when I need it, I pull it out with my finger and thumb, and boom, I've got a box cutter like ready to go. So everything else that I've used on this thing, the bottle opener, that also works, just saying. Everything else on this thing seems to work great. There's just a few minor hiccups that I think that CJRB ought to address before they release this thing fully, or at least in the next iteration, maybe make an adjustment to. And yeah, so that's my thought on the Breeze by CJRB. It is a cool little pocket carry type thing. It's a nice little piece of kit. If they could just fix those 3 things, I think this would be a winner. So those are my thoughts. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you would, please like, favorite, comment, subscribe, do the thing. If you like this video, you'll probably really like this one. one of them. It's over here somewhere. Click on that and watch that one next. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one.